What's up, Bremerton? Josh Farley from the Kitsap Sun here. I'm on the flight deck of the USS Nimitz, and I'm going to show you around, along with 5 stories you just got to know about happening in Bremerton this week. Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number 1 today is the USS Nimitz. The Nimitz is the second home-ported aircraft carrier here in Bremerton, behind the USS John C. Stennis. It's also the oldest aircraft carrier in the United States fleet. It was formerly in Everett, but it was brought over here because Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus decided that it had 2 back-to-back maintenance periods that would require it to be here. So he did not want to have those families come and go from Everett to Bremerton for at least a few years. It's due to be in the Bremerton area through 2019. It finished its most recent maintenance period, which was a $240 million 16-month overhaul, and is due to go on patrol in the seas around the world here in 2017, before it returns again for another maintenance period in the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in 2018. Its commanding officer, John Ring, steps down this Thursday in a ceremony in which Kevin Lennox will be elevated to the position of captain for this aircraft carrier. But before he did, Ring left me with some thoughts about being in Bremerton, as well as what an aircraft carrier can do on the geopolitical stage.
So we're 1,100 feet long, if you will. We're 250 feet wide, or about that at the waterline. 4 engines, 4 shafts, 2 big props. We can go pretty quick through the water when we need to. We have 4 catapults. We can launch a lot of airplanes really fast and then recover them when we need to. So it's a very capable ship run by some sailors that I am extremely proud of. One of the things I'm most proud of that the crew does is they get involved in Commonwealths all over the place. So we do everything. We build houses at Habitat for Humanity. We go to the veterans home and serve meals. We go to the soup kitchen. We walk dogs at the ASPCA. I mean, we are a part of Kitsap community, and I don't think we would get that as much in a bigger town or anywhere else. It's just been a lot of fun to be in Kitsap. So we have 3,100 sailors. Probably have 1,500 families that live in Kitsap. We're going to go on deployment here next year, and then come back in 2018, go into dry dock again, and then we'll see what happens after that. The value of an aircraft carrier is not in fighting wars necessarily, although we're pretty capable of doing that. It's the things we stop, right? So, quick sea story. So this ship was on its way back from the last deployment, right? So we were off Pakistan, dropping bombs in Afghanistan, doing whatever we need to do. We were on our way home, and the Syrian government decided to drop chemical weapons on their own people. The president did what he does in a crisis. He says, "Where's my nearest aircraft carrier?" It was Nimitz, so they turned us around from going home. We sat off the coast of Syria, and we were the baseball bat the State Department used to negotiate, saying, we think you ought to negotiate with these chemical weapons, and they did. And then we hung around until they actually started to get rid of their chemical weapons, right? So this ship, this crew changed history without firing a shot. That's the value of an aircraft carrier. And there's 1,000 stories like that. We were underway for Thanksgiving, right? It's because the nation needs us. The world is going to test our new president, and we're going to be on watch, and we need to be ready for it.
Story number 2 on the Bremerton Beat Blast today. Like you, I'm curious about how this whole fast ferry thing is going to unfurl for Kitsap Transit. As you know, in November, voters narrowly approved a ballot measure that raised the sales tax in Kitsap County by 0.3%, and that money will be dedicated into a fund for fast ferries that will trek across Puget Sound to Seattle. The first will unveil here in Bremerton in July. I spoke with Kitsap Transit Executive Director John Clausen about how the rollout for the Bremerton run will go in July.
The schedule that we have right now, which is pretty aggressive, is that the Bremerton service will start in July. Well, we're going to start out with the max that the scientists have approved, which is about 60 sailings a week. And then the scientists will be on rich passage monitoring, and then we're going to slowly ramp it up to eventually running all day long and into the evening.
Story number 3 on the Bremerton Beat Blast this week. We've all grown accustomed to taking our photos on electronic devices like an iPhone. However, one Bremerton native turned Hollywood filmmaker wanted to go back to the days of when we developed film.
So a few years ago, I was thrifting with my sister Teal, and I came across a 35mm point-and-shoot camera that someone had donated with their roll of film still inside. And then I found another, and another. And I was like, this is weird. So, of course, I bought them. That launched into a multi-year journey where every time I was back in Kitsap County, I went to the thrift stores and consignment shops and looked for cameras that people had donated with their film still inside. I developed all that film, and from my favorite photos, I made a book. Each photo has its own little short story or poem that goes with it that kind of tells this everyday story, this kind of slice of life of what it's like to live in Kitsap County.
Story number 4 on the Bremerton Beat Blast this week. Housing is a reoccurring theme here at the Bremerton Beat Blast. Of course, we have many apartment and housing projects going in Kitsap County and in the Bremerton area. Few are as big as one in the West Hills area, aptly named the West Hills Development. It's owned by Buckingham Properties and is just west of Pendergast Park. It's room for 600 homes or so in that area. But it cannot go forward yet because the city and its hearing examiner have ruled that it needs to reapply for a new plat application. That is a bureaucratic hurdle that will slow down the project, but all signs point to them developing this property in the not-so-distant future. Kitsap Sun reporter Tad Suter looked into the matter, and he and I will keep you posted as this development comes to fruition. And finally, story number 5 on the Beat Blast this week is just an update about the Seattle Seahawks. On Friday afternoon, if you were down at the Bremerton Boardwalk, you saw a massive rally take place that included the Seagulls as well as some former players on the Seahawks themselves. It was an exciting event captured by Kitsap Sun reporter Austin Miller. On Saturday night, the Seahawks did us proud, beating the Detroit Lions at home in a 26-6 win. They travel to Atlanta this week and will play the Falcons in the divisional series on Saturday afternoon. Go Seahawks, and that is going to do it for this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you again next Tuesday.